Hey guys, welcome back. Another week of SNS. So this week I've got a couple of really nice viewer gifts that I want to share with you. Some really cool stuff that's come in, and I always like sharing those really cool, interesting gifts with you. So we're going to check those out. I've also got some more footage finishing out the new Vidmar cabinet. You know, I did some organization with the milling cutters, so I took a little footage of that, and I'll share that with you. And I've also got a small job that we're going to attempt for this week. I've got a small part with a broken stud inside of it, so we're going to see if we can get that out, and hopefully that's not going to be too much of an issue. And it's been a pretty interesting week. This is the week that there was a machine shop auction here locally that I got to attend, and I'm going to have a separate video just on that auction that should be coming out pretty soon that I'll share with you, to so you can see what all was there, and all the tools and the machines, and if I was able to pick up anything or not. So really looking forward to sharing that with you. So I think that's going to be about it. So let's go ahead and jump to it, okay? So check this out, man. My buddy Jason over at Fireball Tools sent me this, and what we got, this is a big tool bit, and this one is made over in Sweden, and let's see, so it's Fagersta. Maybe that's how you pronounce that, Fagersta, and the grade is WKE4. Now I just did a quick Google search on that one right there, and found a couple of articles about that, and I'm still researching to figure out what the exact grade is, but I'm sure I'm going to have a bunch of folks that'll tell me what it is. When I looked it up, it said it was super high speed, so I do not think this is in the Cobalt family. I believe it may be equivalent to an M4 or just one of the high-speed steel grades. But this was something that he picked up, and he got one for himself, and he got one for me too. And the size of this is, it's a 1 inch wide. It's well, let me see, it's 1 inch thick, 2.5 inches wide is the width there, and then what's so 7.5 inches long total. And the reason why he got this is because, Jason recently got his big 36-inch metal shaper, which is just totally awesome. And he threw out the idea there of me and him having some kind of shape-off video, to where we can play around with some large depth cuts. And so that's why he picked up these tool bits. He thought that this would be a better tool to use. You got more rigidity there with this wider tool bit like that, versus say just a square 1 inch tool bit. So that's the idea behind that, is we're both going to grind up a tool bit to do some cutting. And I got that big piece of steel that I showed you in the last episode that I got from Rudd Welding, and that's one of the pieces that I wanted to use whenever we get to where we can play around and make these heavy cuts. So we both got some pictures in our books that show a depth of cut of 2 inches, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to try a 2 inch cut or if I'm going to attempt a 2 inch cut, but we definitely want to try to push the limit of the shapers and see what they'll do. So I know Jason's wanting to try it out on his Cincinnati as well, so we'll give it a try on the G&E and see what kind of chip we can take with that thing. So Jason, thank you very much for the tool bit. This thing is totally awesome. Love having these big pieces of high-speed steel in the shop. All right, so here's our next viewer gift of the week, and this is something really, really cool right here. And we also have this threading tool right here as well. And this is a Pratt & Whitney, and this is one of those tools that are ground for threading there. It's got the 30-degree angle or 60-degree included angle there. You clamp this in your tool post, and then you have an insert there that's readily available for threading. You just grind the tops off whenever you burn the edge up there. And so these two tools were given to me by Hugh Frater, and he's from the UK. And he also had this Eclipse mag base it's indicator holder, and this is what's really, really nice right here. So that's Eclipse is made over in the UK, and they make really, really nice stuff. So this is one of those real heavy-duty magnetic bases right here. Let's pull it out of the box there so you can see it. You got another arm that goes there with it. So big, heavy mag base there, and you got this arm that you can, all right, you put that one in right there. So you attach your indicator down there to the end, and you can snug it up. And one of the really cool features about this guy right here is that you have a fine adjust. This knob right there, it actually moves it whenever you turn that, so you get a little bit of fine movement in this rod here. So whenever you're setting up the indicator for some inspection, you know, you've got some easy fine adjustment right there that you can make with that guy to get your indicator set to where you want. Just seems to be a very high quality component there. It says made in Sheffield, England. Nice strong magnet. I did stick it to the table, and it's got a strong pull to it, so it's definitely a really good magnet, and really nice workmanship right there. It reminds me, I've got another one like this that's bigger than this. It's got the big solid steel base that's made by Brown & Sharp, and it's of similar build fashion on here. So really nice tool, Hugh. I really appreciate it, and I would like to do a little bit of polishing on this thing and get it kind of cleaned up. There's just a very minute amount of surface rust on it right there. I'd like to really get this thing shining and make it look nice, and hopefully we'll show it on the channel one day, being put to use on some jobs around here. Maybe we can use it on the surface plate. That's what Hugh was suggesting in his letter, was that maybe this could be a good one to use over on the surface plate, because it's nice and heavy and you got some rigidity there to it. So Hugh, thank you very much. Also, the threading tool I was going to mention, I almost forgot. This thing it's stamped 30 Whitworth. It's originally ground for a 60-degree V thread, but I know it's hard to see it, but if you look on the tip, it's actually been reground for a Whitworth thread. I don't know if we can get in there and if you can see it or not. You see that edge? So it's been relieved to what I believe is a 30 Whitworth thread, and Whitworth is a 55 degree included angle. So I'm kind of thinking that's what that tool was ground for, was the Whitworth threads there. And you could easily regrind that if you wanted to. You can set that up in a surface grinder and take that edge down, take both of them down, so that you've got a 60-degree cutter again. But just a neat tool. Thanks, Hugh. I appreciate it. Recently, I had shown these tags right here. I had my friend Tom Utley make these up for me. These are going to be for the 10 fixture plates that I'm going to be making. And I wanted to have a tag on there that had the Booth Machine Shop, and we could put a serial number and a date on there. And I thought that would be a nice finishing touch there for these. So what I did not show whenever I had shared these before was some more tag work that Tom has made up for me. So we got these guys right here. All right, so I've got a Norton multi-oil stone that I had found at a local antique store, and that oil stone, that's the part number, is the IM313. It's the tri-stone, so you got your fine, medium, and coarse stones in there. And it's one of the old school ones, man. It's a cast iron base with a steel lid, nice and heavy. And so I had asked Tom if he would help me recreate these tags for that thing, because it's just, you see how beautiful it is. And Tom did such a wonderful job recreating this art. You know, he spent a lot of time in the CAD software to draw this up. I believe he uses Fusion 360, and then he goes in there and he makes the art, and then he does the acid etch to make those tags. So anyway, I wanted to share these because they just look so nice. This was an extra one that he had made up to go on the other side. You know, the A-Bomb 79 2019. This one goes on one edge. This is originally what was on the front of the multi-oil stone, and this goes on the top, the lid there. So we do still have to drill our holes in there for the drive screws. But I just wanted to mention this again because Tom has recently started this side business has turned into an actual business. So he's started up a business where he's taking orders from other people on this, and it's called VaughnIndustrial.com. I'll have a link up there in the video and one in the video description you can click on. So if you have some restoration work you're doing and you'd like some help recreating some machinery tags of any kind, you can get with Tom, and he can help you recreate those. And please be mindful that doing this type of work is just as labor intensive as it is to do any kind of work out in the shop. He spends a lot of time creating this art on the computer and then having to do the etch and then the powder coating and polish. So it's definitely not something that is it's not a cheap service to do, but you see the outcome of what this stuff looks like whenever he's done with it. He just does a beautiful job on these tags. So I just wanted to help him out. You know, he's trying to get his little side business going, and he's been getting several orders. I know Keith Rucker, he showed him in a video here recently, and Keith did a good video explaining how Tom makes these tags, you know, using the acid etch method on there, and how he creates the art on the computer. So give Tom send him an email if you've got some work for him that you'd like him to help you with. All right. And Tom, I really appreciate all the help that you have been giving me around here, man. I really appreciate it. Been getting my shuffling done. Got the green cabinet on the other side of the wall over there, and then got this cleaned up. So I'm getting ready to put the new Vidmar right here. So let's get to it. I'll just unstrap it and slide it in from there. If you guys don't own an appliance dolly, let me tell you, this thing is worth its price. And I think you can buy them at like Harbor Freight also. This is one that belonged to my dad and my granddad. We've had it as long as I can remember. We've always had this appliance dolly. It's got this strap that you pull around something and cinch it up. And I have used this thing probably hundreds of times to move things like this. You know, anytime you got to move a washer, or dryer, or refrigerator, you cannot beat having one of these appliance dollies. So another good tool to have. I mean, you don't use it every day, but I'm telling you, when you need one, you're going to be glad that you have one. So keep your eyes out for one of these things and pick one up if you see one for sale. Definitely worth having. I think I'm going to take this thing off right here. Magnet. He was actually using this thing for sandpaper storage, which is a good idea, and it's good for that. There's actually still a piece down in there. But I'm going to save it. I'm not going to get rid of it. I might use it for the same thing. I just didn't want it in this spot right here. So this shelf right here, you can position anywhere inside there that you want. I thought maybe it was originally designed to slide out, but it's not. It catches and stays in there. So we'll be able to take our 50 taper tooling. I'll be able to stack them in there just like that. Pretty cool. Right where I wanted, up close to that socket right there. I was hoping maybe I could stack both of these together on this side, but I was short about 6 inches. So I'm gonna probably try to get this thing up to where I can get the pallet jack under it, and then maybe be able to position it down here right next to this cabinet. And once I do, I'll have it blocked up so that I can always get underneath it with the pallet jack. I've been spending quite a bit of time working on these Vidmar cabinets right here. I'm making some pretty good headway, so I haven't really shown you this yet. So as I said, I wanted to use it for milling storage, so we've got most of my 50 taper milling tooling in here, as well as all of the insert face mills that I have, and some of the other high-speed steel face mills. We got our arbors in here, our collets for the K&T, the board head. So real happy with being able to utilize this for this right here. And I got more plans that I'm getting ready to start working on for the drawers down here below. I want to use the lower storage for milling cutters. So I've got 2 boxes over there that I've been stacking up with all of my milling cutters that either already have, or all the milling cutters that have been given to me by other people, viewers of the channel. So I want to start putting those in there, but I'm going to do something with the drawers there. So something else that I've decided to do is these arbors for the milling machine, the long arbors. I want to make a shelf that's going to bolt to the side of this cabinet right here, that those will hang on, and those will actually kind of free up some space in this cabinet. And it's actually a better way to store those, is hang them down so that there's not pressure on the arbors all the time. When we were at the old shop, we had an old Brown and Sharp horizontal mill down there, and it had several arbors and it had several of the 50 taper holders there. And I had my uncle help me. We made some wooden shelves for the wall, and we either bored some holes in it for the 50 tapers, and for the milling arbors we just milled a notch in there so that we could just hang those on the wall. So that's what I want to do on the side of this cabinet right here. And I have this piece of angle iron that I had found when I was out cleaning the shed up, and this will make a perfect shelf to hang those arbors. So I plan on getting it cleaned up, and we'll set it up in the milling machine, and then we'll mill us some notches in here and then drill us a couple holes so that we can bolt it onto the side of this cabinet right here and have a good way to store the long arbors for the mill. So for the drawers, I'm going to start using these for all of my milling cutters, the horizontal milling cutters. And what I decided I wanted to do is, I've always liked carpet as a drawer liner. So I went down there to Lowe's this morning, and I was going to get them to cut me a strip of carpet. I didn't realize that they only cut it, to the foot. They don't cut to exact measurements. So I wanted them to cut it 25 inches wide to fit these drawers right here, and they don't do that. So I ended up looking around, and they had this box. It's called carpet tile, and these are already cut to 24 by 24. So they fit in the drawer pretty good. They got a little bit of side-to-side room, but I don't think that's really going to hurt anything there. So come with 15 of them, which is plenty for both this cabinet here and the one next to it right there. So I'm getting ready to just put all those in there. These things come with the peel and stick bottom, so you can use that if you want, but I don't think that I'm going to utilize that. I just wanted a carpet so that it helps protect the sharp ground edges of the milling cutters and help keep them from sliding around. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to line all these with the pieces of carpet, and I'm going to pull the milling cutters out. We're going to start going through them. And any of the ones that are kind of dirty and rusty, I'm going to start doing a vapor rust cleanup on those as well. Well, I got all the cutters put away, most of them. I still got a couple soaking, but I'm much more happy with how I've got these things set up now than having them all just stacked up in a box. These are tough to kind of get perfectly organized just by design. How they are. My preferred way was the way my dad had them. He had a big old piece of plywood nailed on the wall with nails in it, and he had all these hanging on the wall there. That's a good way to do it if you got the wall space. I just don't have the wall space here. But I've got them stacked in size right here so that I'll know when I come over, if I'm looking for a 1/8 cutter, these are my 1/8 cutters back here, all the way down to the smallest, 1/16 sizes, 7/32, 3/16, quarter, 5/16, 3/8. At least they're all together by width of cutter, and then I can go through them to find, what diameter I could use, or arbor hole size. So, we got 7/16 here, we got 1/2 inch there. I did find this one I didn't realize I had. It was a 12 millimeter cutter. So that one was pretty cool. It's made in England, by, it says Clarkson High Speed Steel. So that was pretty cool right there. I just put it with the 1/2 inch, and I'll be able to see that. So we've got our 9/16, 5/8, and 3/4 cutters over here on this side. And the next drawer down, so I've got the biggest cutters here. These are all 1 inch, and then we have a couple of 7/8 and an 1.25 inch, and then this is an 1.5 inch. So these are all the biggest cutters that I have right there. And then on this side, what I've done, I had a whole stack of cutters, all these guys right here that are like non-standard widths, just oddball different sizes. And so I put them all together in a stack, and they're all right here. And then these are all radius cutters. Different size radius right there. We got some big radius cutters, so we just got those all together right here if I need that. There's also some cutters that people have gone and ground the corners, so we actually have like corner radiuses on them. So I have them all right here together. So at least I have them all segregated in their unique spots that I can go to. I still have 2 empty drawers. I have more planned for some more storage. And on the bottom one down here, this is where I put all of my other big mill tooling, like all these face mills. These are things that I probably won't use and eventually have to get rid of some of this stuff. But at least I've got it in one spot instead of in different locations around the shop. And also the shell mills that I've been cleaning up right there, I've got more to do. They're going to go in here as well. This is a big 6-inch face mill right here. One of my local viewers gave me that a couple years ago. And more big high-speed steel face mills right here. This is one that I had it reground. This is a 4-inch. And I keep it in this box because it's never been used. But it's been a few years since I had it ground, but it was reground, and I'm just waiting for the right job to put that one to work. That's another, these are roughing shell mills down there. This is one that a viewer had given me. I think I showed that in S&S. I've never done anything with it, but I put it down there. So I'm really liking this cabinet right here. So this is going to be, mostly all milling machine storage right here, cutters. And I'm going to start putting in one of these drawers. I've got a lot of big end mills. I've got a bunch of them over here in this cabinet, but I want to put all the big end mills over here, all of the large diameter stuff, like say 1.25 inch up to 2 inch, and put them in here. So that's where we're at on the Vidmar storage. I think I showed you in here already, but I'm going to work on the shelf that I want to build to bolt onto the side of this. That's going to be where I hang the long arbors on. And other than that, this will just be some more storage for what you see in there, end mill holders and things like that. We got our face mills, the ones that I'll be using more of right up top. And I'm loving it. I'm liking it. So there you go. This is a lug nut. Belongs to a friend of mine, and it's got a stud that's broke inside of there. This was done at one of those places that you go to have your tires fixed and brakes put on your car. And so we don't know if it was over torqued or what happened, but it did break off inside there. And he asked me if I could try to get it out of there, not because you can't replace this, but whenever you replace one of these, you have to buy an entire set. So he asked if it would be worth messing with, and I thought it would be fun to maybe try to get this out of there. It's a 14 millimeter stud, 1.5 is the pitch there. It's got it stamped right on the side, so I appreciate them for letting me know what size it is. So it may be, I don't know if it's cross-threaded. I don't think it's bottomed out in there. It may be just over-torqued and stretched and then and broken. In that case, it could easily come out of there. I don't know. But what I'm going to do right now is just set it. We're going to put it in the vise right here. And I want to use some penetrating oil and just let it soak for a while. I've got other jobs I'm working on right now. But we're going to let this soak for a while, and then we'll come back to it later and see about trying to get this out of there. So I'm going to use my CRC knocker loose, and I'm just going to keep this thing filled up with some solvent and hopefully let it work down in those threads to help loosen it up. Maybe make it a little bit easier to back out of there if it does want to come out of there. So we'll come back to it and go to the machine and see if we can get it out. This guy's been sitting here for about 6 hours with the same penetrant that I sprayed on there earlier, the knocker loose. And I can't really tell if any of it has gone down in those threads. It doesn't look like much has if it has. So looks like it's locked up pretty tight. But let's go ahead and see if we can work some magic on this thing. Pour that out there. I'm going to see if I can convince this broken stud to come out of there. We're going to use this 5C collet chuck over here in the milling machine. So a 25-30 seconds collet fits this perfectly. It's just got a nice fit there. So hopefully this thing will hold it good. All you do is you push this down, pushes on the collet and makes it squeeze. And then it's got a little set screw here where you can lock it into location. So we'll go ahead and give that one a little snug there. And we should be able to indicate this OD here and get us in the center. Got my center point in there just for reference. Get us over there close to it. And we'll put an indicator in there. That looks like it's in the middle both ways there. We'll use this indicator setup right here to find the center of it. Wrong way. Maybe I was going the right way. I was just off. I was still off quite a bit. It's hitting those letters right there. So that's about 2 on each side. Going just the opposite way of what I was wanting to go. That should be within about a thousandth right there. So we're going to call it center. It's going to be close enough for this job. Well, I got the 3/8 collet in there. We're going to go ahead and use a 3/8 end mill to create a flat spot. And then I also have this 3/8 stubby left-handed drill. We're going to start with this and see if it'll do anything. If it'll maybe crack it and you know, unscrew it out of there. Well, did you see that? I seen it spinning, which is what I was hoping that it would do. So we might have, this might be very easy. Let me get this drill in there and we'll just start with that. All right, let's see if we can get that stud to back out of there. We got a 3/8 left-hand drill bit. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. Well, that one definitely was nice and easy. Getting that out of there, as I was hoping that it would. I can see a few metal strands down in there, so it's been worked on pretty good. I'm going to run a tap down in there to clean those threads up. Picked up a little bit of trash in there. All right, it looks good to go. I'll let my buddy know that it's ready, and now you don't have to buy a whole set of lug nuts. All right, good deal.